Just pull it.
Pull it, yeah, right.
Oh, hello. Relish is a Swiss guitar company that's not very well known in New Zealand. I hadn't heard of them at all. However, I saw this guitar pop up online with all of these random innovative features and I really wanted to check it out. Conway from guitarsrock.co.nz was nice enough to bring it around for me to play. And if you're interested in actually buying this guitar, head along to guitarsrock.co.nz and you'll find it. Otherwise, please enjoy this look at one of the most random, coolest guitars I've had the privilege to play. Let's start with how this thing is put together. Most guitars are made out of wood, and this guitar is also made out of wood. However, this guitar has a removable back. What? The back is attached to an aluminium frame via magnets. It's a firm hold, but it is still easy to remove.
You know how like people were like, oh, you got to have your Strats without the trim cover on because it helps it resonate better or whatever the heck they're on. Yeah, maybe have you considered playing this guitar without the without the back on?
Yeah, that doesn't feel great. According to the Relish website, this is a floating sandwich construction, kind of like a piano, and it's supposed to let the guitar vibrate unlike any other guitar construction. And it sounds great. It's loud, unplugged, and it's fantastic through the pickups. It's surprisingly heavy for like a guitar that you can literally see through. You know what I mean? Like, but it's not overly heavy. Unless my left arm is a lot weaker than my right arm. I feel like the tally is probably a little lighter, maybe. I guess the fact that it's got an aluminium frame means it doesn't vibrate like any other guitar, but I don't actually know if this really matters. Maybe you could measure it, maybe objectively having an aluminium frame vibrates better than a guitar that's made more traditionally out of wood. But to be honest, I didn't notice any difference between this guitar and any well-made, typically constructed electric guitar. Another interesting build choice is the material that the fretboard is made out of. Apparently bamboo is the perfect fretboard material. It looks great and it feels great. It's got a 10-inch radius, which is flat. It's fairly flat without getting silly. And the neck is chunky enough that you don't feel like an imposter when you switch the piezo on and pretend you're playing an acoustic. One of my favorite things about this piezo is the mid boost that is set up on a push-pull knob. I think I prefer it with it out.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like a bit more subdued and mellow. It gives you a lot more versatility when using the piezo system. It kind of reminds me of the difference between a cedar top and a spruce top acoustic guitar. The piezo system can be used on its own or blended with the magnetic pickups. I really liked blending it with the neck humbucker. I think that gives you a cool sparkly kind of sound. Four frets in an acoustic is kind of an amusing concept.
Yeah.
Humbuckers sounded great, and the coolest thing about them is that they are this crazy modular system. So what that means is that if the vintage style humbuckers that are in it already aren't really your flavor, you can swap those out.
You can take that off and then you can take these pickups out just by pulling them.
So these are interchangeable.
What does it look like if you play it like that? That's really fascinating how different that sounds. Oh, yeah, listen to that. It does not sound how I expect an electric guitar to sound unplugged. This sounds like a single coil, a single coil acoustic. Obviously, you can't coil split an acoustic guitar, but let's just pretend you could. I think this is what it would sound like. This guitar has one of the most unique pickup switching systems I have ever seen. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have a 17 position LED touch strip as your pickup selector switch? It has its pros and its cons, but the pros definitely outweigh the issues I have with this pickup system. I really like this concept. You're right about kind of sliding it. You don't really have the time to sit there being like, now I want position 13. I found it's a super easy way to blend between pickups. A 2-volume, 2-tone system that you get on like a Les Paul style guitar gives you a ton of control in terms of the sounds you can get out of the pickups. But I found that this LED touch strip gives you the same kind of thing, but in a much more simple, easy to understand and use format. And as a guitarist who prefers only having one tone and one volume knob on my instruments, this was the perfect compromise for me. You can treat it like a 3-way switch. There are little indents in the middle and the sides of the LED touch strips, so you can just hit those really quickly. But it really comes into its own when you start to think of it more as a mix slider rather than a pickup selector switch. The biggest issue I had with this switch is that it's really hard to easily and accurately switch pickups in the middle of a strum like you would on a more normal setup. I didn't have time to really get used to it, but I feel like it is something that would become easier the more you played. One of the coolest things about having this mix slider type pickup selector switch is the blend you can get between pickups that you can't get anywhere else. Where I really noticed this was on the tally style setting when you split both the pickups. Put it in single coil mode, we touch the end and then touch the opposite half. Quite the range of tones. And then it's really interesting being able to get this position with a single coil like this. Normally if you've got like 2 single coils and 3-way like a tally style, you've just got them dead in the center. Having this mix control selector switch gives you the opportunity to blend between those single coils in a way that I haven't ever seen on any other guitar. Now the biggest issue with the guitar itself, or possibly its best feature, depending on how you look at it, is how flexible this guitar is. Now, not in the sense of how many sounds you can get out of it, but rather the fact that it actually bends. See what you mean about pulling? I find I'm like leaning on the guitar a little bit. You really gotta be gentle with it. It's so crazy that you can do that. It's like a flexible guitar. Just give it a hug. Who needs a big speed? You can just like flex a little bit. It's like it's a feature. You kind of don't really need a big speed with this one. It's like 5 or 10 cents sharp. It's so easy to accidentally bend it sharp. The guitar for those who are controlled with their body. I suppose it does really encourage you to play with a light touch though, because you're supposed to. If I had to sum this guitar up in one word, it would be flexible. The modular pickups, the piezo system, the insanely versatile pickup selector switch, and the fact that the guitar actually bends. This guitar is pretty flexible.
Once again, I want to thank Conway at Guitars Rock for providing me with this instrument to check out. I had a great time playing it. And if you want to buy this actual guitar, head along to the website guitarsrock.co.nz. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to Guitar Nutrition so you don't miss out on any content. Give this video a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think about this guitar. Is this something that you would play? And we'll catch you next time.